Picture this. It's 2020. The world is falling apart. We're all stuck inside, doom scrolling, wondering if we'll ever feel normal again. And then, a book appears. A book about a romance writer who stops believing in love, who rents a beach house next to her literary rival, who makes a bet that flips everything she knows upside down. That book was Beach Read. And it didn't just give us an escape. It gave us permission to be messy, complicated, and real while still believing in happy endings. The woman who wrote it? Emily Henry. But here's the thing nobody tells you. Emily Henry was a nobody, a failed YA author with books that flopped, someone the publishing industry had already written off. Critics said her books were too smart for romance readers, too romantic for literary readers, that she was trying to do too much and pleasing no one. Romance purists said she was pretentious, literary snobs said she was too commercial, BookTok called her overrated, and yet she became the biggest name in modern romance. 5 consecutive #1 bestsellers, movie deals with Netflix and Sony, millions of books sold. So what happened? How did a struggling writer everyone dismissed become the author who completely changed what romance novels could be?
Throes of the pandemic, the Ohio-based author published her first adult romance. It was called Beach Read, the steamy, slow-burn romance. I like it. In a beautiful setting, resonated with readers and sold over 1 million copies, making Emily Henry an all-out sensation. They call her the queen of the beach reads. She has turned out a best-selling romance novel every year.
Someone's reading a book by Emily Henry. She sold more than 6 million copies of her best-selling novels, and 3 are being adapted for screen.
Very, very cool. Her latest romance novel is called Funny Story. It's about a young librarian.
Let's go back to the beginning. Because Emily Henry's story, it's not what you'd expect. She grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio, solidly Midwest, surrounded by the kind of tight-knit family that shows up in all her books. Her mom was a bookseller. From the start, her childhood was literally built around stories. But here's the thing that shaped everything. Emily Henry started as a young adult author. The Cursed Heart, The Winter Song, Love and Other Train Wrecks. These were her early books, young adult contemporary romance with depth and feeling. And they were good, really good. But they weren't setting the world on fire. Emily was in her late 20s, writing books that publishers liked but readers weren't obsessing over. She was doing everything right on paper, but something wasn't clicking. And then her father died. I'm telling you this because it matters. Because what happened next wasn't just a career pivot, it was a complete creative rebirth born from grief. Emily Henry sat down and asked herself, what do I actually want to write? Not what will sell, not what's trendy. What story do I need to tell right now in this moment with everything I'm feeling? The answer was Beach Read. A book about a woman whose father dies and leaves behind secrets that shatter her entire worldview. A woman who thought she understood love and life and then realized she understood nothing. Emily poured her grief, her questions, her messy, complicated feelings into that manuscript. She wrote a romance novel where the main character doesn't believe in happily ever afters anymore. And in 2020, when the world needed it most, Beach Read hit shelves. Within weeks, BookTok exploded, Instagram exploded, Goodreads exploded. People weren't just reading this book, they were feeling it. Beach Read spent over 50 weeks on the New York Times Bestseller list. It became the book everyone was reading that summer. The book that proved romance novels could be literary and emotional and thought-provoking while still being fun and swoony and hopeful. Emily Henry had found her voice, and that voice was about to change everything. But here's what I need you to understand about why Emily Henry matters. She made romance novels prestigious. Before Emily, there was a divide. Beach reads were fun but fluffy. Literary fiction was serious but sad. Nobody was writing books that could be both. Emily Henry changed that. Her books tackle grief, family trauma, and identity with gorgeous prose. But they're also funny, swoony, and hopeful. She proved romance could be beautifully written and emotionally complex without apologizing for the happy ending. Critics started reviewing her work, Bookstores moved her books to fiction, not just romance. She built a bridge between two worlds that were never supposed to touch. And here's her formula. Dual timelines, grown women with real careers, emotional depth wrapped in humor, subverted tropes. The ambitious woman doesn't need fixing, literary prose, and earned happy endings where characters actually do the work. That formula made her the name in contemporary romance. And now, Hollywood came calling. Netflix is turning People We Meet on Vacation into a movie with Tom Blyth and Emily Bader. Sony's adapting Beach Read. 20th Century Studios bought Book Lovers. And Emily herself is writing the screenplay for Funny Story. Within the next few years, Emily Henry's books will be the romantic comedies dominating your Netflix queue. She's not just a best-selling author anymore, she's becoming a franchise. But here's what's wild. Emily doesn't do massive book tours or go live on BookTok. She's private. She just releases one book every spring, like clockwork, and millions pre-order immediately. That's not luck. That's being so good people will wait for you. So let's talk about what Emily Henry's actual life looks like. Because it's not what you'd expect from someone who's sold over 9 million books. She lives in Cincinnati, Ohio, same place she grew up. She's married to a musician she met when he was touring through town when they were both 18 years old. They dated for years before getting married. No kids, just her husband, and their dog. Her days? She and her husband go to opposite ends of their house and work all day. Then they come together at night to watch TV or play board games. That's it. That's the glamorous author life. She's not on BookTok constantly. She doesn't do massive book tours. She's relatively private on social media. She just writes really good books and lets them speak for themselves. And here's what's wild. That approach has made her one of the biggest authors in the world. By 2023, she'd sold 2.4 million books. By 2025, over 9 million. In 2022, she signed a 4-book deal worth millions. Every book debuts at number 1, every single one. But here's where it gets interesting. Not everyone loves Emily Henry. Some readers say her books are too formulaic, that they all follow the same pattern. 2 people on a trip, dual timelines, someone dealing with a dead parent, witty banter, and a happy ending. One reviewer said, "It feels like Henry uses a formula to create her books. All books are about people taking a trip somewhere else and falling in love. I can't take it anymore." Another called People We Meet on Vacation forgettable and said they couldn't connect to it at all despite loving Beach Read. Book Lovers got slammed by some readers for being basically the same book as Beach Read. And then there's the biggest criticism. Emily Henry doesn't write romance. She writes women's fiction. Romance purists say she's too literary. Literary snobs say she's too commercial. She's caught in this weird middle ground where both sides claim she doesn't belong to them. Her latest book, Great Big Beautiful Life, is her most divisive yet. Some fans are calling it their least favorite Emily Henry book. The pacing feels different. The structure is more ambitious. It's not the classic Emily Henry formula, and readers are split on whether that's brilliant or disappointing. But here's what you need to understand. Emily Henry writes grown women with grown problems. After Beach Read came People We Meet on Vacation. Charlie and Alex, best friends who take a trip together every summer until one summer ruins everything. They stop talking for 2 years. The book alternates between present day and past trips, and you're piecing together what went wrong while watching them try to fix it. It won the Goodreads Choice Award for Romance in 2021, another #1 hit. Then Book Lovers. Nora Stevens is a ruthless literary agent, the villain in someone else's love story, except she's the hero of her own. She runs into Charlie Lastra, a grumpy editor in a small town. The book asks, what if the ambitious career woman doesn't need to be fixed? Third consecutive #1. Happy Place. Harriet and Wynne broke up months ago but haven't told their friends. They're stuck pretending to still be together during their annual vacation. It's about relationships that end slowly and whether you can fall back in love with someone you never stopped loving. Another #1 debut. Then Funny Story. Daphne gets dumped, moves in with Miles. her ex's new girlfriend's ex. They fake date to make their exes jealous. Critics loved that both characters felt real and flawed without being overwhelmingly negative. Another instant bestseller. And in April 2025, Great Big Beautiful Life. Two writers competing to write a reclusive Hollywood heiress's biography. It's more ambitious, more literary. The reception? Mixed. Some say it's her best work. Others miss the classic formula. 6 books, 6 #1 bestsellers, all being adapted into films. So here's the question nobody's asking. Is Emily Henry's success about writing what readers want? Or is she just really good at selling the same story 6 different ways? She proved that romance novels don't have to choose between literary and commercial, between smart and fun, between making you cry and making you laugh. She made it okay for women in their 30s to read about women in their 30s, to want emotional complexity alongside the happy ending, to stop apologizing for loving romance novels that are beautifully written and emotionally devastating. And she inspired a whole generation of authors to write smarter, deeper, and take risks with structure and voice. Emily Henry started as a struggling YA author, wondering if she'd ever break through. She became the author who redefined what adult romance could be. 6 books, 6 summers, 6 novels that prove love stories can be just as literary and messy and thought-provoking as any other kind of story. She's not writing romance novels everyone will love. She's writing romance novels that make people feel something, whether that's obsession or disappointment or everything in between. And maybe that's exactly what the genre needed, not perfection. Just someone willing to take risks and let readers decide for themselves. Before you go run off to annotate your favorite Emily Henry quote, hit that subscribe button. Not to be dramatic, but YouTube refuses to pay me until you do. So help me grow this channel so I can keep bringing you stories about your favorite authors. And if you're craving more romance royalty breakdowns, don't sleep on my Anna Huang video. Enemies to lovers energy. Billionaire chaos, morally gray men. Go click it. Treat yourself,